Rubbing your palms between your fingers. Keep your distance. Clarice, please. 1.5 meters. And wear a mask at all times. Wear a mask. Today's lesson is the human body, diseases of the breathing system. Okay, let us grab our booklets. Grab a pencil or pen that you can work with, that you can write on with, and open your booklet on page 20. Diseases of the breathing system. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to list common diseases of the breathing system, and you must be able to mention how those diseases can be prevented. The vocabulary for this lesson: COVID-19. COVID-19 is a mild to severe infectious respiratory illness caused by a coronavirus. Bronchitis. Bronchitis is an inflammation, a swelling. Inflammation means swelling of the mucous membranes in the bronchi. The bronchi are the tubes that we find in our lungs. Then the common diseases of the breathing system we will be focusing on: coughing and sneezing, colds, asthma, tuberculosis, bronchitis, coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. Let us all turn to page 21. The common diseases of the breathing system, our breathing system, the respiratory system, any disease that can affect your lungs, any disease that will affect your nose, your throat, those are the diseases of the breathing system. So the very first one there is colds and coughs. Colds and coughs, as the name already says, if you are coughing a lot or you have a flu, a runny nose, you are sneezing, that is colds and coughs. How can you prevent it? Wash your hands with soap and running water. Every time that you have sneezed, you should wash your hands. Cover your mouth with a tissue and dispose of the tissue immediately. Every time you have used a tissue, do not keep it to use it again. Throw it away immediately. Keep warm to prevent getting sick, especially now that it's winter. This is the time that we will be experiencing a lot of flu. So keep warm, and at night, wear a jersey, keep warm. Drink a lot of fluids, especially hot drinks. Fluids, it will help to keep your respiratory system active. So drink water, drink hot coffee, just drink a lot of hot drinks. Avoid contact with sick people. If you see that your little brother is sick, your elder brother is sick, avoid contact with them. Do not sit next to those people. Otherwise, you can also be infected. And if you are sick, avoid contact with other people. Rather stay on your own or sleep. And the very last one, very important, get vaccinated. This is the time when you can go to the clinics and then you can get a vaccine against flu. Before you get the flu, you are already vaccinated against it. Okay, the second one is asthma. Asthma is a well-known disease. Most of the people suffer from asthma. It affects our respiratory system. You will find difficulty in breathing when you have asthma. To avoid asthma, identify asthma triggers and avoid them. Asthma triggers are the ones that can cause you to, some people are allergic to dogs, some people are allergic to meds, some people are allergic to plants, and this can be your asthma triggers, because if you are exposed to them, you will find it difficult to breathe. So rather avoid the asthma triggers. Stay away from allergens, all of the ones that you are allergic to. Take your medication. Asthmatic people are given an asthma pump. Asthmatic people are given tablets to drink. So take your medication in order to avoid any asthma attack. Avoid smoke of any kind. Smoke of any kind, whether it's first-hand or second-hand smoking. Don't sit next to people that are smoking. Do not sit around fires. Avoid smoke, whether it's from the car, exhaust fumes, wherever. Avoid smoke of any kind. And the very last one is to prevent colds, the first disease that we mentioned. Prevent colds, because if you have a cold or flu, this is also the way that asthma attacks can start. Okay. The third disease, bronchitis. Bronchitis also affects our lungs. So don't smoke. That is the very first way to avoid bronchitis. Don't smoke. Don't smoke is not just for people that are smoking cigarette. It's also for the people sitting around the others that are smoking, being exposed to a lot of smoke at the fire as well. Avoid all of that. If you catch a cold, get plenty of rest. Bronchitis will make you feel tired. So it is better if you have plenty of rest, take your fluids, take your medication, and sleep. That way you can recover much more faster. Eat a healthy diet. Our fruits and veggies. Most of you people are not eating those green things in your plate. You need to eat a lot of fruits and veggies. And the very last one, wash your hands often, because you don't know who has sneezed on a surface that has bronchitis and you have touched it. So rather, wash your hands often. Okay. Number 4, tuberculosis, also known as TB. TB is also wildly spread in Namibia. A lot of people are infected with TB, but TB has treatment. It has treatment. There is no need to be scared if you have TB and you stay home and you don't want to complete your medication. You need to continuously be at the hospital, and that is the only way that you can recover from tuberculosis. Take all your medicine as they are prescribed. Some people will be put on medication for 6 months period, maybe stay at home. Some people might be admitted. Take your medication as prescribed to you. Keep all your doctor's appointments, very, very important, because every time that you come to the hospital, the doctor has to keep checking how far along are you. Are you taking your medication as prescribed? Are you recovering? Is there any change? Do you need to be given other medicine or what? So you need to keep going to the doctor. And the very last one, wash your hands regularly. We can see that washing your hands is mentioned at all of these diseases. It's a clear indication of how important this is. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands with soap and running water. And the very last disease we will be focusing on today is COVID-19, also known as coronavirus. This is something new that we have all just been exposed with currently. So COVID-19 affects your respiratory system. COVID-19 is not about I'm young and I'm old. COVID-19 is not about your immune system and whatever. Yes, your immune system does play a very important role, because if you have a stronger immune system, you will recover much more faster. But it is better always, prevention is better than cure. So let us look at how to prevent COVID-19. 1, wash your hands with soap and water. It should be running water, not just water in a bucket. So everyone is coming at home washing their hands in the same bucket. That is not right. It should be washing your hands with running water. Maintain social distancing, 1 meter. Now that a lot of people are exposed to COVID-19, it is better to keep 1.5 meters. Maintain your social distancing. COVID-19 is spread through the saliva, so you don't know as the person is standing there next to you talking, saliva might have fall on a surface, and then you touch that surface, you forget to wash your hands, you touch your face. So through your nose, through your mouth, through your eyes, those droplets could enter and you can be exposed to COVID-19. So maintain your social distancing. Wear a mask, very, very important. Your mask should cover your nose and your mouth. Some masks are only covering the mouth. It is not right. Your mask has to cover your nose. Your eyes are already exposed. So at least wear a mask to cover your nose and mouth. Wear a mask to protect yourself. Wear a mask to protect the person next to you. Wear a mask. Your mask should not be loose and hanging. It should be fitted tightly onto you. So do not buy a small mask or do not buy a big mask. Don't touch your eyes or your nose or your mouth. That is very, very difficult, especially for you grade 6s. You like to scratch everywhere. But during this time, don't touch your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. Do not touch. Stay home. If you feel sick, stay at home. Isolate yourself. Stay at home. These symptoms of COVID-19 are the same symptoms that you will experience when you have a cough or a cold. So you are never really sure what the sickness will be. So rather isolate yourself until you are sure that this that I'm having is just an ordinary cold or it's just a normal cough. So rather isolate. If you feel unwell, stay at home, stay in bed, drink your fluids, stay at home. If you have a fever or a cough, difficulty in breathing, these are some of the signs that you will be experiencing. A fever, meaning that you are very hot, you are sweating. If you have a fever or you have a cough, continuous, you can't just cough for one day and want to be tested tomorrow. If your cough is continuous and you have difficulty in breathing, some of the people that have asthma will experience this a lot. So sometimes you're not sure if it's an asthma attack or if it is COVID-19, but it is better to be tested. Seek medical attention. Call in advance. So instead of going to the hospital to go sit in line while you do not know what you are exposed to, it is better to just call a doctor and go there. Or you can call the COVID hotline number and then they will assist you. Follow the directions that you will be given, meaning that if they tell you to stay at home, drink this medicine, take what, you need to follow those directions, and that is the only way that you will recover quickly. COVID-19 is unknown. We do not know much about it. All that we know is that if you are infected with it, your respiratory system is at risk. You are in grade 6, meaning that you are still very young, so you have to protect yourself. Stay at home, stop playing in the streets, soccer and whatever things you are playing, social distance, and wear a mask if you need to go to the shops. Okay, let us look at the activity on page 22. Only 2 questions have been given there for self-assessment, and you need to answer those questions there. Do not pick going to look at the answers. We will find out which people are looking at the answers there at the back. Number 1, list 4 common diseases of the breathing system. Any 4 diseases of the breathing system. Number 2, describe how the above mentioned common diseases can be prevented. What can you do to prevent? What can you do to protect yourself against getting these diseases? Remember that prevention is better than cure. Okay, so that is the end of today's lesson. Diseases of the breathing system, very, very important. Protect yourself. There are lots of diseases that you can get, but if you protect yourself, you will not get any of those diseases. Stay home, eat healthy, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay home. Remember to sanitize between your fingers, your palms. Sanitize for 20 seconds. Wear a mask at all times. If you're going to visit at your auntie's house, if you're going to the shop, wear a mask. And remember, if you go out in public, keep your social distancing. 1 meter apart. Social distancing. That is all from us today. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm back, and if you are scared of what you read on social media, talk to your parents and ask them the questions. They know everything. Until next time, bye!
Many countries that have passed their first peak of COVID-19 are experiencing a second rise in cases. Is this a second wave of infections, and could even more waves lie ahead? Previous pandemics might give us a clue. The 1918 Spanish flu was the most deadly pandemic in modern history. It killed at least 50 million people. Its second wave was the most deadly by far, killing millions more than the first and third. More recent outbreaks, such as SARS and swine flu, have also had 2 or more waves, so it looks like the COVID-19 pandemic could have several too. The World Health Organization has warned about the dangers of a deadly resurgence. Many countries and places have seen infections accelerate after bringing their first waves under control. These rises aren't necessarily new waves. They could be spikes. Spikes are rapid rises in cases that aren't sustained, whereas waves happen over longer periods and often contain several spikes or peaks. Second waves only take place after a first wave has retreated. Many scientists believe more waves are inevitable and think a worse one could hit during autumn or winter. Some other coronaviruses spread faster when the weather is cold. If this is the case with COVID-19, it would put health systems under huge pressure. Many people are still vulnerable, and immunity to the virus might only last a few months for those who recover. It's also possible that mutations to the virus could lead to new waves. Hundreds of mutations have been found, and some could potentially make the pandemic more severe. One mutation may have already improved the ability of the virus to bind its spike proteins to human cells. This strain of the virus appears to unlock cells more easily and has become dominant around the world. It's unknown how the virus will continue to change, but further mutations could make it even more dangerous and harder to control. A reliable vaccine would help solve many of these problems, but it may take many months or even years to find one. Until then, we all need to make long-term lifestyle changes to protect ourselves from further waves. How are you learning to live in a world with COVID-19?
Akili, 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 akili. Will you wash your hands with me? I want to wash my hands with you. Come on, I will show you what to do. Wash your hands in clean water. Wash your hands, wet them with the water. Wash your hands, now add some soap. Scrub your hands in the soap and water. Scrub above and below between the fingers too. Scrub Scrub under your nails and scrub-a-dub-a-doo. Rinse your hands, rinse your hands, rinse your hands in water. Rinse them clean, rinse away the soap. Dry your hands, dry your hands, dry your hands and go.
Achille, why do we wash our hands?
To wash away the germs.
Achille, what are germs?
They're like tiny little bugs on your hands and they can make you sick.
But I don't see any germs on my hand.
That's because they're so tiny that you can't even see them.
Oh wow! I want to wash the germs away. Will you wash your hands with me, Achille?
Of course! Wash your hands in clean water. Wash your hands, wet them with the water. Wash your hands, now add some soap. Scrub your hands in the soap and water. Scrub above and below between the fingers too. Scrub under your nails and scrub-a-dub-a-doo. Rinse your hands in water. Rinse them clean, rinse away the soap. Dry your hands, dry your hands and go. Great job, Haruma! Can you tell me the 4 things we did to wash our hands?
I can try.
1.
Wash our hands with water.
2.
Put soap on our hands.
3.
Scrub our hands all over.
4.
Rinse our hands clean with water.
That's right! You got it! Wash your hands, wash the germs away.
On the Gold Coast of West Africa lies the peaceful and diverse nation of Ghana. I'm pretty close right now to the geographical center of the Earth. It is also one of the last pockets for elephants in the wilds of West Africa.
Every country in the world just about has cattle, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys. But it's only Africa that has the real megafauna, the charismatic stuff which people in the rest of the world want to see.
The passion that the staff have for the job.
There's value to a bird which brings birders to a place like this. I mean, this is a birding paradise. We see an intrinsic appreciation and joy from seeing the wildlife out here, but not everybody does.
You can't get to Moli and then will not be passionate about what we do, because you'll be the only one left. Everybody is passionate.
The only worthwhile war, the war against destruction, the war against loss, the war for peace, for balance, for inclusion.
Just out of my way, buffaloes, elephants, tigers, Atabi are still in existence.
If Mole fails, then Ghana is without wildlife.
Join me as we journey to the untamed wilderness of northern Ghana to meet these last defenders.
The people within the law enforcement agencies don't really know you're talking about a roan antelope. Somebody thinks it's just like a goat.
God said. It's interesting to see if we have a look at John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In other words, what I see drives me to go out what I say. And I believe this is the goal of our Bible school, to teach me to see. And I dare to say what you see must change your heart. Because you cannot move out if you don't have a changed heart. By the word of God, everything is created. God wants you to speak the word so that things can be created. Say to your neighbor, created.
When the war broke out in Syria some 5 years ago, Ala, an architecture student, was in her second year of school. Then her life turned upside down.
There were no chance to complete my study in a place where people is dying.
Ala began looking outside Syria to continue her studies. She reached out to a non-profit group based in Portugal. As luck would have it, they offered Ala a scholarship to complete her degree in Lisbon, the capital city. Called the Global Platform for Syrian Students, it's helping 150 students like Ala to study in 10 countries, including Portugal.
It's a good example how a small country like Portugal, undergoing very difficult economic situation, was able nevertheless to make a pilot experience and to show that Europe can do much more than it is doing, creating a win-win situation.
The United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, is urging European countries to admit up to 200,000 asylum seekers from conflict zones, including Syria. Portugal announced that it's willing to increase its resettlement quota of Syrian refugees from 4,500 to as many as 10,000 as soon as possible. An elderly couple provided Ala with accommodations during her stay in Portugal. She calls them her second family. But she dreams of returning to Syria and rebuilding the country.
I have to be there in the future on the land, rebuilding from the zero, because Syria is my first country.
Ala will never forget the chance Portugal gave her, although returning to Syria is her priority.
It's my dream, but also I cannot forget what Portugal did for me. So Portugal is also my second country.
Ala hopes to obtain a master's degree in architecture by next year. In the meantime, she's becoming more fluent in Portuguese, and her new classmates trying to help her forget the crisis in Syria just for a fleeting moment. This report was produced by Zara Makawi for the United Nations.